Avery, come on up here. No, you don't want to. Okay, come on, Avery. Come on, Avery. You got to learn to be step up here, and I want you to stay right here because this is why we're doing this for the future. Now, is she here? Where is she? Huh? He wants you on this side. She wants this. You're the star. My name is Congresswoman. I am Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, and I represent the 12th District in New York City, which includes portions of the east side of Manhattan, Astoria, Queens, Greenpoint, and Williamsburg, Brooklyn. We are here today because we just need one more state to bring us to the 38 out of 50 states needed to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. And I am thrilled and honored to be joined by so many famous and infamous women and like-minded men who are our allies, and we are all unified in calling, finally, for the ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment in our Constitution. And a very special thank you to the extraordinary actress and activist, Alyssa Milano, for being here and using her star voice to shine the light on women's rights and empowerment. And I am thrilled to be joined by my colleague and very good friend, Representative Jackie Speier, the author of the bill that would remove the time limit on the Equal Rights Amendment, and a wonderful partner in this fight. And also with me today are the co-presidents, Carol Robles-Roman and Jessica Neuwirth, who are leading a nationwide network advocating for the ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment. We are also joined today by Jessica Lenahan, a domestic violence survivor and the plaintiff in the Supreme Court case Castle Rock versus Gonzalez. And I will let her share with you her heartbreaking story and how she is working to make America a better country. Also with us today is the great and legendary Eleanor Smeal, co-founder and co-president of the Feminist Majority, and the National Political Women's Caucus president, Donna Lent. In just 2 hours, we will be holding a shadow hearing on the need for the Equal Rights Amendment. We need to take matters into our own hands because this Congress is not listening to the American people. Over 94% of Americans have stated and polled that they are in support of women having equal rights in our Constitution. Yet we cannot even get a hearing, so we are holding our own. Women are half the population, yet the only right that is guaranteed for women in the Constitution is the right to vote. Since I've been in Congress, I have reintroduced the Equal Rights Amendment 11 times. And in all those years, there has not been one hearing in either the House or the Senate on this important issue to half the population of America. So that's what we're doing here today. We're saying to Congress, time's up. We demand change, we demand equality, we demand respect, and we demand to be heard, even if we have to hold our own hearing, which we're doing today. Yes. The Me Too and Time's Up movements have become rallying cries in our country, capturing the conscience of America, changing the conversation about how women need to be respected in this country. Women are marching across this country, they're running for office, and winning. So we hope to capture this amazing energy and create lasting change that cannot be wiped away with the stroke of a pen. Jackie and I spend half our time in Congress fighting to hold on to rights that we've already won. And we cannot depend on who's the president, who's got the majority in Congress, who's controlling the courts across America. Something as important as the rights of half the population should be It's long past due that it should be solid and bedrock solid in our Constitution. So we are here today calling for the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment so that equal can truly mean equal, and we are just one state away from making that happen. I would like to call my colleague in Congress and very good friend. We've worked on many issues together, including this one, Jackie Speier. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn.
And this is the I think we have a future Congresswoman right here. Okay.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thanks to all of you for joining us here today. Thanks to the real heroines of the effort to finally get the ERA into the Constitution. We stand here unequal. In the Constitution, we are unequal to men. 92 years ago, women got the right to vote. And 98 years ago, women got the right to vote. And 92 years ago, Alice Paul introduced the ERA for the first time. And it has been introduced in every Congress since then. We came close in 1972, passing it by both houses, putting it before the states, having 35 states ratify it. We've now grown to 37 states, and we need only one more. Why is this important? Because under the law in this country today, women need to not only show that there is discrimination in order to win a victory in court, they need to show that the discrimination was intentional. And that is a very high bar to make. The issue strikes at the heart the injustices that have allowed employers to discriminate, predators to prey on those who hold power over, and domestic violence abusers who terrorize their victims with little or no fear of serious legal or societal retribution. You're going to hear from Jessica Lenahan, and we had the privilege last night of watching a film of her painful life because she wasn't being treated equal under the law. So we're asking for 24 words to be added to the Constitution of the United States. A measly 24 words. And all it says is that you cannot discriminate based on sex. Antonin Scalia, then a Supreme Court Justice, the late Antonin Scalia, said, "If you're asking me if the Constitution requires discrimination based on sex, the answer is no. But if you're asking me if the Constitution prohibits discrimination based on sex, the answer is no." It is time, ladies and gentlemen, that we finally address this great inequity in our country and put women on an equal footing with men. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. And I would like to ask Jessica Lenahan to come forward.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Sure.
Hi, my name is Jessica Neuwirth. I'm co-president of the ERA Coalition, and I just want to tell you Jessica Lenahan's story because it's hard for her to tell you what happened. It was so painful. Jessica had a court order of protection for herself and her children against her ex-husband Simon. One day Simon came and took her 3 daughters from the front yard. Over the next 10 hours, she called the police repeatedly, went twice to the police station. They repeatedly told her not to worry. They told her the father had the right to see his children, even though the court order of protection provided for mandatory arrest in the event of a violation like this. At 3 a.m., Simon Gonzalez showed up in a pickup truck at the police station and started a shootout in which he was killed. The 3 girls were found in the back of the truck, each shot in the head. After this devastating tragedy, Jessica sued the police in the town of Castle Rock for failing to enforce the court order of protection. Her case went all the way up to the Supreme Court, where it was thrown out because there was no constitutional basis for her case. The ERA would have provided such a basis. Jessica Lenahan is a champion who continued her quest for justice and won her case at the Inter-American Commission for Human Rights, which found that the United States had discriminated against her on the basis of sex. It's a great honor for me to introduce Jessica Lenahan.
Again, thank you. Thank you all for being here and supporting the ERA and our fight to accomplish this feat that has been eluding us for all of history. It's time to make a change, and we need to be treated equally. We as women fight for you, we work for you, we do all of the work and get very little of the credit. So I hope that the ERA is going to impact the entire nation in living a better life. Mine has been a quest for justice throughout the years since 1999, and what happened to me should never happen again. And with implementing the ERA would prevent child death and the injustices that occur in our country. And in this particular issue, I feel that our country is a third world country, and we need to view it as such. No one should ever have to go through what I've gone through and suffer the tragedy my children have suffered, including my live child that suffers still with the situation. My court order was never, it just had not been upheld at all. The police refused to look for my children at that time. The U.S. Supreme Court found that I had no standing to ever know what happened to my children. It means there is no accountability for the police and no justice for me and my family. The Equal Rights Amendment would change that. We need ERA so that women are not treated as second-class or even third-class citizens. We need ERA so that anyone who suffers what I have suffered will at least have a path to justice. I thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. The Supreme Court ruled that she didn't even have standing to bring her case. If we put women in the Constitution, we'd be treated 100% better. I want to call upon the co-presidents of the ERA Coalition. And it's Carol Robles Roman and Jessica Neuwirth. A very special mention to Jessica. We worked together for years writing most of the anti-sex trafficking laws that have passed in the United States Congress. I asked her to help us with this cause. She not only helped it, she created an organization which is now moving around the state, helping the country really, helping with ratification in Illinois, Nevada, hopefully soon in Virginia and North Carolina. Jessica and Carol.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Congresswoman. And thank you for mentioning the ERA Coalition. Our member organizations are from around the country, and we are dedicated to one thing: constitutional equality for women. Many of our member organizations have been driving this sole mission for decades. Why? Simply put, because the U.S. Constitution does not guarantee equal rights for women. You just heard from Jessica Lenahan what that means practically. As a result, many women experience great inequity, sex discrimination, pay inequity, gender-based violence, and harassment. And this has been happening for decades, under the radar, many times by serial predators. Look at Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein. We know that most women never report, they don't tell anyone, leaving women without effective legal recourse. And women of color are disproportionately harmed, and oftentimes we are the least likely to report because we have the most to lose. But thanks to the cultural and political momentum that we're experiencing, the Me Too movement as well, there is now needed very much sunlight happening and change is on the way. We are feeling the equality pendulum is now swinging in our direction, and we are going to use this momentum to call for a new era for the ERA, and that's the name of the shadow hearing this afternoon. We're calling for equality, we're calling for respect. And we're taking our equality roadshow on the road. We were in New York yesterday making a big stink. We're here today. The hearing, I encourage all of you to be there. And our message is going to be very clear. If a legislator is not supporting the ERA, if they are not supporting women in the United States Constitution, he or she is not supporting women's rights. Period. Hard stop. Gone are the days where you can take a picture at Women's History Month and tweet that out as a show of support. We want to see sponsorship, and we want to see votes on the Equal Rights Amendment. We want to see votes for Congressman Maloney's bill. We are working collectively on this. You're going to hear our next speakers. This is intergenerational. This movement is not going away, and we are not going to stop until we get this done. Thank you.
Great. Our next speaker is the president and co-founder of the Feminist Majority, the great and legendary Eleanor Smeal, who has led the fight for equal rights in our country for literally decades. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence.
Thank you very much, Congresswoman Maloney and Congresswoman Speier. We are on a roll. We just passed the 37th state, on the way to 38. We're going to be in a sponsorship drive for the ERA resolutions that are being co-sponsored by both Carolyn Maloney and Jackie Speier and so many others. Women are not going to be denied equality. It's coming, and it's coming soon, and we need it. We need it for fighting violence against women. We need it for fighting sexual harassment. We need it for women to get equal pay and justice in the workplace, and also to get more educational opportunities. There's discrimination because of loose laws with a lot of loopholes, but we also don't want to keep this ping pong going on. One administration favorable to women's rights, another one not favorable, one state favorable, another state not favorable. We deserve and demand equal rights, and we're going to be fighting in all 50 states for sponsorships and unratified states for changing that. We think that, we know, the polls show we're way ahead. If the only hesitance is some people think that we've already passed it. Well, we haven't, and we're determined to do it, and I see it coming. Both Congresswoman Maloney and I just said recently, we've gone through a lot of fights, but now we feel that victory is ours, and it's in the very, very close future, and we're going to bring it home. So thank you for being here and join the fight for equality for women. We need it. It benefits men and women, boys and girls. It leaves nobody out. It benefits all kinds of fighting discrimination on the basis of sex, and there's no question. Everybody around the world now is moving in this direction. We don't want to be a holdout that is not defending all human rights, and we're going to be there, and we're going to go to victory. Thank you.
Wow, bravo. Bravo, bravo, bravo. And Donna Lent, who is the president of the National Women's Political Caucus.
Yes.
Let's rally everybody.
Hello. A lot has been said here this afternoon, every bit of it true. We've been working for this for decades, and what I want to put out to you today is that every legislator either becomes a signer on this bill or you're our enemy. Plain and simple. You're either with us or against us. It's time to have women in the Constitution. No more excuses. So get your pens, get your staff ready, sign on to the bill, because otherwise we're coming after you.
And now it's my great honor to introduce Alyssa Milano, who is an actress, activist, and she will be testifying at our hearing that will take place in just 2 hours. Thomas Paine once said, "Don't send me any summertime warriors." Well, I can tell you she is not a summertime warrior. She has worked so hard on this, met with so many people, selflessly used her star voice, I would say, to convince and to talk to legislators on the other side of the aisle, on both sides of the aisle. She's already secured a public hearing in January. But what I really admire about her, she is not afraid of anything. She's effective. We call her our fearless girl. Thank you, Alyssa, so much for you bringing your power to help us. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman, Congresswoman. I keep calling you Congressman because I don't know why. Thank you, because we're not in the Constitution, that's why. Congresswoman Maloney, and I also want to thank Congresswoman Speier for really being the only voice that women have had in government for many, many years. I am here today. My name is Alyssa Milano, and I am here because women are not guaranteed equal justice under the law of our Constitution. In 1923, the Equal Rights Amendment was first proposed by the National Women's Political Party. It stated that the amendment was to provide the legal equality of the sexes and prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex. Almost 100 years later, and we are still fighting for equality. We are still fighting for this belief that equal means equal. Lack of recognition of women's equality in our Constitution perpetuates this idea that women are less than, which then can lead to unequal treatment, abuses of power, sexual harassment, and assault. The ERA will prevent protection laws from being repealed and women's progress from being rolled back. The ERA will ensure that the rights of women and girls will not be diminished by any politician, but instead be a basis for the rights guaranteed in the Constitution. The ERA is also an economic issue. The ERA will promote equal pay for equal work, and it is proven that when women earn more, it actually does stimulate the economy. Gender equality would boost the economy by over $4.3 trillion over a decade. And passing the ERA would put the full weight of our Constitution behind employment laws relating to the prevention of sex discrimination in hiring, firing, promotions, and benefits. An ERA can protect women from being harmed by a policy simply because they are women. People have said to me in the last few days, why are you fighting for this? We already have equality. And they have truly been shocked when I've said to them, no, we don't. Women are not protected under the United States Constitution. And truly, the only guarantee we have in the Constitution is the 19th Amendment, which is a woman's right to vote. This is truth. This is fact. Women came together in the last year to say, "Me too." We supported each other when we held men accountable by saying, "Time's up." Well, I'm here today to say the time is now to pass the ERA so that all citizens of our country have the opportunity to reach their full potential.
Yay, bravo!
What do we want?
ERA!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
ERA!
When do we want it?
Now! Our last speaker is Carol Jenkins, a very dear friend of mine, a great fighter in this common cause. Carol?
Hi, thank you so much, Carolyn. Do you want to? And I'm here with my granddaughter, Avery Hines Mudry, who started lobbying for the ERA when she was 7. When she was a toddler, I used to take her to all the women's meetings, and so all of the women's leaders said, "Oh, we know Avery." The only thing I will say in closing is that the ERA Coalition wants one thing. We want an equal future for all of our children, for all of our women and our men. We want this country to operate on an equal basis, and that's what we're working for. The Equal Rights Amendment is the only thing we believe that will do that. Thank you all so much for being here.
Let's ask Avery. Do you have anything to say, Avery?
Glad to be here.
Avery is.
have called votes, so you only have a chance for maybe 1, 2 questions.
Okay. Are there any questions? They've called votes, so we are in a rush. Are there any questions anywhere? I want to thank you very much for coming, because without the press covering the story, then it doesn't build momentum with the public. So all of your presence here means so much to us. We are deeply grateful. Thank you so much.